Now we come to blood vessels, right? Blood vessels, as somebody told very beautifully, that these are blood-filled tubes. Blood vessels are nothing but tubes which contain blood, right? They are arteries, veins, and capillaries. These are three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Now, what is the difference? As you can see, the red ones are arteries, the blue ones are capillaries. We have discussed the difference between the two. Now, the arteries, branch out. They become a little more thinner, and they are known as arterioles. Arteries, if this is thick, when something branches out, it becomes a little thinner than the original one, right? And then when it further branches out, just like a root hair, then this is known as the capillaries, right? Because, for example, your eyes, your eyes are made out of thousands. It's a network, it's a net, it's a mesh of blood vessels. Can such a thick artery enter your eye? Are there holes in your eyes? Are there holes in your eyes?
No, ma'am.
यहाँ पे hole, artery will go from here and carry blood. No. So basically it branches out into thin, even thinner than our hair. And then it enters the eyes. Very, very efficiently it reaches out to each and every cell of our eyes. The cornea, the white portion of the eye, the red cell, the cone cells, the rod cells, so that each and every portion of the eye gets enough water, enough vitamin C, enough vitamin B complex for helping it to get proper vision, right? So basically capillaries they become so thin so that they easily can enter any organ of our body. They're so thin. Correct?
There are 32.7 trillion cells in our body.
Just imagine, and each and every cell gets its nutrition from the blood vessels. The blood vessels carry food for them, the gases for them. Can you imagine?
Ma'am, but how some things are like the blood vessels are just so small, then how does it happen in a fraction of a second?
So that's what I said, everything is so organized. There is already some leftover blood, which has come from the earlier heartbeat. Everything is happening very fast in our body. We are not able to realize that.
Like how can that happen, ma'am? Like when you said that every cell, the blood goes to every cell. And the blood vessels are so thin, they are thinner from within our head. So
Your voice is breaking. Just ask the question once more.
ma'am, are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
So ma'am, like as you said that the blood vessels are so thin, like thinner, a few blood vessels are thinner than our hair, and like they reach out to every cell in our body. So ma'am, how is it like suppose if it's our eyes, like see, now ma'am seeing the screen, I'm just able to read it, but if how is the blood able to?
No, see, I could not get your question actually. Basically, the thing is that if this is the blood vessel,
So like my doubt is that how does it happen so fast when there's such little space, for the blood to go?
okay, see, that is what I was discussing. The blood vessels or the capillaries, basically. I'm talking about the capillaries which are thinner than hair. They're so thin. But what is flowing inside? Blood. What is blood? RBC. RBC is something which you can't even see with your naked eyes. It is so tiny. For example, if there are 1,000 RBCs together, it will form like one dot like this here. So even if it is thinner than a hair, what's flowing inside that is invisible. Like RBC, WBC, platelets, you can't even see that. It's only when, hundreds of thousands of RBCs come together that you can see the color of the blood is red. Oh, acha, the color of our blood is red. One drop of blood might contain a few hundreds of, not even one drop, just take a drop at the end tip of a needle. That might have, some few hundreds of RBCs. So those tiny things pass through the capillaries. Why not? And that's what I'm saying, you know, everything, you know, we do not get to see. That's why we don't understand actually what's happening inside our body. Things are happening very fast. That's the reason why they say you should eat on time. Even more beautiful than the circulatory system is the nervous system. You know, at least in the circulatory system, you can feel the heartbeat, you can see the blood, right? You can see all these things. When there's a cut, you yourself can see the blood. But in a nervous system, you can't see anything. You
Ma'am,
can't
can
even.
I ask a doubt which was done before topic, like, which was done before?
We need to finish this chapter and we just have 15 more minutes. And maybe after that we can discuss. Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So basically arteries, their smaller arteries are called arterioles. They are thick-walled blood vessels, right, making up the arterial system and carrying blood away from the heart. As we discussed, they are thin. The lumen, the interior part of an artery is thin because they are thick-walled, right? Now, the smaller arteries are called arterioles and the arterioles branch out to form the capillaries. The veins also, you know, I think so, they are known as the venules and then they branch out to become the capillaries. Arterioles are branched off from the arteries or the arterioles. Yeah, arteries. Except in the pulmonary artery, the blood contains oxygen, right? We will discuss this point. In all arteries, blood carries dissolved food and waste brought into the heart by veins and it is then transferred to the arteries. So basically veins carry all the dirty stuff, all the toxic and the deoxygenated stuff. And what does artery carry? Artery carries all the clean stuff and, you know, everything that needs to be oxygenated, that is oxygenated. Arteries carry the food to the cell and waste to the kidneys. So systematic. Now we come to the veins. Veins are wide, thick-walled blood vessels. Veins make the venous system and it carries blood back to the heart. So just like arteries carry blood away from the heart, veins carry blood to the heart. Small veins are called venules, which again branch out to form capillaries. Okay? Veins contain valves to stop blood flowing backwards. We have discussed this. Yes, Priscilla, you also mentioned about this gravity, right? And merging venules, right? The blood in the veins leading from the digestive system and the liver also carries dissolved food, which we know, right, from the small intestine. This is transferred to the arteries in the heart. Now we come to capillaries. We know capillaries are the thinnest versions of arteries and veins. They're the most thinnermost version. They're very narrow, they're very thin-walled, and they branch off from arterioles to form a complex network of capillaries. What do? They
Ma'am,
carry,
can I see their functions?
sorry?
Can I tell capillaries functions in my own words?
Yeah, please do. Please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So capillaries are tiny blood-containing structures that connect arterioles to venules.
Very good.
They are the smallest and most abundant form of a blood vessel in the body. Capillaries are very small that can penetrate through body tissues, allowing oxygen, nutrients, and waste products to be exchanged between tissues and the blood.
Very good. Good. Yes, that is exactly what is the role of the capillaries. Because thick, you know, the fat or the thick arteries and veins cannot enter the organs or the cells, so it has to divide into very thin structures like capillaries to actually enter into the cell or the tissues. Good. Okay. Yeah. So Arna, you had a question from your previous chapter?
Ma'am, not the chapter, the topic.
Sorry, not from the topic. Okay, still. I'll attempt in answering it. Ask.
You said that like we have like see the blood vessels are there, and when we have cholesterol on them, the pressure goes on the wall, and that's why we have BP.
Correct.
Some people say that because of stress we have BP.
See, because of stress also, we have cholesterol. You will find in the initial days, the doctor
We have cholesterol because of oily food and
So,
oily.
so that's what I was coming to. Initial days, almost 10 to 15 years back, doctors used to think that people who have fried food, people who have a lot of ghee, people who have a lot of butter, who have junk, they have a lot of cholesterol deposit in their body. This is what they used to think. But of late, in the last 10 to 15 years, what has happened is that the thinnest of thin people, even they are having cholesterol. So doctors have started wondering that this person, he's a vegetarian, he doesn't have much fried food, he doesn't have butter and he has it very moderately. How come he is having high blood pressure? Or how come he is having cholesterol? So then it was found that it is caused also due to stress. Apart from bad food habit, cholesterol, blood pressure, diabetes, even obesity,
Understand like how can we have stress when cholesterol is all because of
these are all called lifestyle diseases. It happens because of
Because of the hormones, right?
uh, kind of, yes, because of the hormones. That's why I said that each and every organ, each and every cell in our body is interrelated. If somebody is stressed, there is a particular kind of hormone which is generated too much, and there is something called the feel good hormone. I think so, it's known as the oxytocin. That feel good,
Ma'am, feel good in the sense happy hormone.
the happy hormone production goes down.
Ma'am, I know that hormone's name.
Yeah, tell me.
Dopamine.
Oxytocin, dopamine. So
Yeah, sorry.
dopamine will go, the production of dopamine will go down, because obviously if somebody is very sad and very stressed and very worried and always, in a anxious condition, so he will not be happy. The dopamine production will go down. If the dopamine production goes down, it directly, indirectly affects the blood. Because all these hormones are carried by the blood. So the blood will directly, indirectly affect the arteries and the heart. So our heart is related to everything. This way now, always feel happy, always be happy. Even if there is something that has happened which was very bad, try and overcome. Try and come out from that. Make yourself happy, or else the heart or the health becomes bad, and which is not worth it.
Ma'am,
Yeah, so
I
stress
have
is the root cause to many a problem.
ma'am.
Yes, Priscilla?
Ma'am, like what are the blood vessels? Like the vessels, are they non-living or living?
See, they are made out of muscles. They are made out of muscle cells. Of course, they are living.
Ma'am, then they'll only use up the whole oxygen, ma'am.
No, they would only take up as much as they need. We take a lot of oxygen. How many times in a day do we breathe? They don't need all of oxygen. We take sufficient oxygen for us to, for all the cells to be utilized.
Okay.
So that's the reason why, remember, I don't know if I was discussing it with your class. Do you remember the mountaineering thing that I was discussing, where the temperature was sub-zero? Was it in your class where I said the temperature had become -2 degrees Celsius?
No, ma'am.
So it must be with class 6 then, okay? So here when I was saying, when I was saying that, the temperature goes down here, so basically what happens with increasing altitude, when the altitude increases, the oxygen level dips. It's difficult to breathe. It's even more difficult to breathe, and then your heart also doesn't function properly because the oxygen is very less. So people start feeling dizzy, they are in a confused form. The brain doesn't work properly because even the brain doesn't get enough oxygen. Why do we yawn? Does anybody know why do we yawn? Who will answer this? Why do we yawn?
Ma'am, when we are sleepy.
When we are sleepy. So yeah. So, you know, even without that also,
Ma'am, when you're sleeping, the heart beats slower.
see, basically, when do you feel sleepy?
Ma'am, when your heart beats slower and when you get little oxygen to each of the body.
So basically, even if it's not time to sleep, for example, you sleep at 10 o'clock at night, but it could be 6 o'clock in the evening that you are yawning.
Can I tell what is why do we yawn?
Yeah, please do.
Ma'am, in different regions of the brain control, yawning and low. Ma'am, I'm sorry. I just I'm telling the wrong.
Not an issue. So basically, when our brain doesn't have sufficient oxygen, it's a very voluntary action for us to open our mouth very wide and inhale the oxygen. That's a very natural phenomena. Whenever the brain, that normally happens when you feel very bored. Your brain is not working, you're feeling very boring. You're like,
when you don't do any action.
When you don't do any action, or maybe you've gone to a party, or you've gone to a party where you have lot of friends, lot of people.
That's our body and brain.
Yes. So basically, when you have a lot of people in and around you, but you're not finding them interesting at all. So your brain is not finding that, that impulse to even communicate, to discuss something intellectual. Your brain is just refusing to talk or to engage.
Ma'am?
Yes?
Sorry, ma'am, to interrupt, but when are you going to explain superior and inferior?
I will discuss this in this last portion only, right? So do you want to cover it right now, or do you want to carry it in the next part?
Next class is also fine, ma'am. No issues.
What I'll do is that let me initiate it, and then I'll leave it to all of you to do a little bit of homework on the circulatory system. Okay?
Okay,
so basically, let me just draw once more. Right? So this is the right auricle, left auricle, right ventricle, and the left ventricle. And we know there are two valves here. Right? This is known as the this is known as the tricuspid. Okay, first let me start. We have studied about the pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation.
Yes,
right? There is something called the superior vena cava. Superior vena cava. I'll just write it as SVC. Superior vena cava. Right? So what is the work of the superior vena cava? It is present at the top, and its work is to get blood from all the organs that is positioned above the heart, as in the brain, the face, the upper portion, the neck, and every area. So the superior vena cava will receive the blood from the brain and the upper part of the body. Right? Now, there is something called an inferior vena cava. I'll write it as IVC. Inferior means lower. So the inferior vena cava will get, blood from the legs, the limbs, the abdomen, and all those areas, right? And what will it do? It will enter the right atrium first. All the blood, after it enters the right atrium, it will come to the right ventricle. So which is the valve present here? The name of the valve here is the tricuspid valve. What is a tricuspid valve? It has
three valves.
Yes, it has got three faces here, which allows the blood to flow only from the right auricle to the right ventricle. Okay. Now, blood from the left ventricle will go to the pulmonary artery. That means pulmonary artery, where is it leading to?
Ma'am, it is leading to the lungs.
Very good. So after a certain time, the pulmonary artery will get divided into two portions. This is the right pulmonary artery, and this is the left pulmonary artery. And where will these go? Any idea?
Ma'am, the right and left lung.
Very good. So this will go to the right. Very good. So this will go to the right and the left side of the lungs respectively. So after it goes to the lungs, what will it find in abundance there? It will find abundance of, yes, it will find abundance of oxygen. So what happens is that the oxygen-rich blood now will enter the pulmonary veins. Right? Oxygen-rich blood will enter the pulmonary veins. Okay, here there is an exception. Here, this is the only...
Can I tell?
Okay, go ahead. I knew you would answer.
Ma'am, pulmonary artery is the only artery which carries impure blood, and pulmonary vein is the only vein which carries pure blood.
Very good, excellent. Unlike normal arteries and veins, right? So here, what the pulmonary vein will do is that it will carry, again they will meet up, right? And then the pulmonary vein will come to the left auricle with all the oxygen-rich blood, right? And from the left auricle, the blood will come to the left ventricle. And what is the name of the valve here? The valve out here is also known as the mitral valve, which is a
The bicuspid valve.
bicuspid valve. Bicuspid. It has got bicusps, means it has two cusps. Right? So there's a tricuspid here, there's a bicuspid here. Now the blood will, from the left ventricle, it will go to the aorta, which is the largest artery in the in our human body. And there is something called an aortic arch, you know, something like this. So before the aortic arch, what happens is that there is a branch out happening here, which will take all the oxygenated blood again to the upper part of the body, the brain, the face, the eyes, the nose, and everywhere, right? And the descending aorta, descending matlab coming down. The descending aorta will take the blood to the abdominal region, to the limbs, to the arms, and to everywhere, right? So this is basically how the blood circulation happens. This is the pulmonary circulation that we have discussed, right?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, the carotid artery, is it a branch of aorta?
The carotid artery, I guess it is a branch of aorta only, which actually, is present, which can be seen actually on both the sides of our neck. Right? It supplies again blood to the brain and the major organs in our face. See, basically, the pulmonary and the systemic circulation are important. I thought I'll be able to finish it today, but then again, we had discussed so much about other things also. I could not complete it. So let's, okay.